so glad you can make it with me today. Real quick, I just wanted to show what you can use instead of a water bath canner if you don't have one. Sometimes I have used a stock pot. Just make sure it's high enough so you can cover your jars with 1 inch of water over the tops. And then always put something down in the bottom so the jars aren't touching the pot. This is such a great way to use up your cranberries that you didn't use for the holidays, or finding them on sale or clearance at stores. I bought 4 bags of fresh cranberries at Aldi. I did go ahead and wash them in the sink, and I did find some bad ones, so you do want to wash them really well and pick out the ones that are kind of squishy. You do want to make sure that you sanitize both your lids and your jars when you're water bath canning. I know with pressure canning it's a little bit different because you are pressurizing everything inside of the canner for so long, but water bath is a little different. So what I did, I went ahead and put my jars in the water bath canner filled with water and heated it almost to boiling. You can get up to boiling if you want to. These were washed already really well, so I didn't worry about that. The recipe does say to fill your jar up. I forgot my funnel. Whoops. Fill your jar up halfway with the cranberries. And the recipe I used called for 1 tablespoon of sugar. Now the sugar helps pull the juice out of the cranberries while they are sitting in the jars after they're canned. I went ahead and put 2 tablespoons in since the jars were filled halfway with cranberries, and cranberries are tart. Now we're going to add the hot water. Always remember, if you have hot jars, use hot liquid or water when filling your jars up. Same goes for cold jars and cold water or liquid. You don't want to shock the jar. That can actually cause the jar to break. Now the recipe calls for 1 inch headspace, and you want to debubble first. You want to make sure all the air is out. And the air doesn't get trapped in the cranberries. And make sure when you put your lids on your jars that you put them on finger tight. Don't crank the jar lid on super tight, but just tight enough that no liquid will escape. That's pretty much my rule of thumb. Now when you are doing this, you want to make sure there is 1 inch of water over your jars. And if you have hard water, so you don't get that, you get like a white film on your jars after canning, I go ahead and just put a splash of white vinegar in the canner. Before you start your timer, you want to make sure the water is at a rolling boil. And once it hits that rolling boil, you want to put the lid on. And this recipe calls for 25 minutes for a pint. And I think quarts are the same amount of time. I will leave that recipe in the description box just to make sure. Okay, time's up. So I go over to the stove. It's been 25 minutes. I go ahead and turn it off. Take the lid off away from you because that is so hot it'll drip water all over you. So See how I took it off away from my body. And I let the jars just sit in the water for about 5-10 minutes. And then I will use that grabber and I will pull them out. And go ahead and put them on a towel on your counter. And don't touch them for 12 to 24 hours. And I know that's tempting because you want to see if they've sealed and you want to look at them, because water bath canning, they will cool down pretty quickly, and they're beautiful. Look at that. So you'll want to have them sit in your pantry or your food storage for about a month, and that way the sugar water will pull out all the juices. And I did have 3.5 cups left over. I'll probably just freeze these until I need some more later. But thanks for coming along with me, and I hope you have a very blessed day.